Hey guys, welcome back. Hopefully the audio is better and the image is better.
New setup.
And I'm whispering, can you even hear me? All right, welcome to the side of our house of the typical crawl space access. This is how you would normally get under the house, just like this. And under there is where I've been working and where the bathroom is. So what I need to do right now is measure the distance from the subfloor to this existing beam on the right, so I know how tall our floor joists, our new floor joists, need to be before I stick them in there. So this is the shoring I did the other week, and we're gonna go in here and take some measurements. All right, just made it down here. Oh, that was disgusting. All right, welcome back to the big hole. Today's goal is re-support that floor entirely. Hopefully move on to re-supporting this so we can be done it back there deep in the crawl space. I really hate being back there, so sooner I can get done with this, the better. It's just under the house. Measured all these so I know the thickness that I need to cut my new wood to. And then we're gonna need to find a way to slide it in there, screw it off, support it, remove our temporary supports, and then we'll be done over there and move on to this section. But for the time being, now that that floor is supported by other means, these floor joists are just in the way and are going to get totally replaced anyway. So I'm going to start with cutting these out so I can see a little bit better, work a little bit easier in here. Then I'll go rip some new wood to the correct dimension. Then we'll start sliding it in here. So I guess only thing to do is to get started. This feels really wrong, but it's got to be done. All right, so I'm gonna start with this one right here because it feels the easiest. You can see through there to the next beam. Just rip this piece to the right height and try and slide it right in there. Hopefully it doesn't fight me too much on the other end, but might need to get a persuader out here. Oh yeah. Like a glove. I've got a nail that's hanging up on this side, but this is gonna work great. I can't do this without getting glue all over me. These screws are just gonna be kind of to tack it. I'm gonna need to get some longer ones in here. In my supreme wisdom and luck, I forgot that there is a water line running right there, and I sunk a screw straight through it. So that's awesome. Just shut off the water. I'm gonna have to pull that screw, run a new water line. So right before I put this in there, I thought to myself, you know, I better not screw straight through that pipe, and I don't know, just of course that's what's gonna happen. But you'll also see down there I started a 8-inch screw. That's what I have on hand, and that'll go all the way through this stack and connect all this stuff together, because there's some new wood over on this side, so it'll all be joined nice and tight. They're a little too long for what I need, but it's what I have on hand, so that's what I'm going to use. They'll stick out a little bit, not the end of the world. I'll sink probably one of those each foot along this span, so I'll have 3 of them along here. That should be plenty to hold it out. They are structural screws. So I'm gonna go back under the house. My impact couldn't quite drive that, so I gotta get a bigger drill and get these things in there. All right, so I'm fixing this pipe that I screwed into. I just pulled out the old section. Check that out. Smack dab in the middle. Almost hit it a second time right there. I don't know if I should be impressed with myself or annoyed, but anyhow, I got the new piece of pipe in there. I'm gonna put it back on the supply, hook up under the sink, and then I can turn the water back on. Katie's out running right now, so I know when she gets back she's going to want to shower. And right now there's no water in here, so let's get to that. I have the next joist ready to go in here, but I'm hitting, got an obstruction down there with one of those pieces of wood, so I'm going to crawl back there. I'm going to slice that off so I have more bearing on that post. I'm going to pull this back, put some glue on it, zip a bunch of screws in. Alright, let's see if I can get under there. Next up is this one. I'm going to do the same method. There's a piece sticking out again that I'm going to need to trim back so I can slip this full-length board in there. Alright, I guess I didn't mention earlier, but I went and picked up these big old 6-inch structural concrete structural screws, and they're going to go through the entire stack here. So they go all the way from old wood on this side, see where they had sistered it up and stuff, all the way through this entire stack of rotten to this new wood. So goes just like that, which gives me a lot of peace of mind. Those things aren't going anywhere. I'll probably drive one last one like right here somewhere. Actually, you know what, I might do it from this side so we have some going both ways, but they're holding very, very tight, and I put a generous helping of construction adhesive in there. So glued, screwed, strong, sitting on the beams. These three are totally done with structural screws. Now this one doesn't bother me all that much because this joist isn't rotten, but I'll probably just throw a couple screws in it, call it a day. I'll probably pull this piece of pressure treated off because we don't need it on this side anymore, but over there could use a little bit more reinforcing. But again, this joist isn't rotten out, it's solid, so it doesn't bother me too much. Cool. Before I put all this construction adhesive and stuff away, I'm gonna put a block just like this, nailed off real good to help support that floor joist back there also. That ought to do it. Alright, now to drop the temporary supports we put in. Alright, it's time to put these new floor joists in. So before I do that, I'm going to clean up this crawl space one last time, because once I put those in, that's going to be a real pain. So let's get to it. Alright, it's time to start building things back. Got a couple floor joists cut. Fortunately, dimensional lumber is kind of all over the place, so I'm going to have to shim either side on both of these beams to get it as level and match the existing floor the best I can. We'll start there and see if I can get a couple of these in tonight. I've already cut some shims. I staple them on this end, and that side I'm just going to shim up until it's level. At least that's my plan. Floor joists are not going to be evenly spaced through this area. I got to work around what tails are left from the old stuff. I really want it to get under this wall, so this wall is supported. It will have full tile, so there's going to be some significant weight there. So I want to make sure I get all the way past. So here, like I was thinking, I was just going to butt it into there. Really like to get it past, so we're just going to have it regular spacing, and that is going to be what it is. And if it takes an extra board or two, so be it. I gotta go cut some shims. Alright, welcome back to another day in the bathroom. Today's ultimate objective is to get the subfloor down here so that I can start reframing this back wall. I think I'm going to move it back a little bit because this is a 2x8 right now. And I think just to clear the pipe, we just need a 2x6. So I'm going to try and squeeze another 1.5 to 2 inches out of this wall to make our shower a little bit bigger. Plus, I have to reframe it anyway because of all this rot. So taking advantage while I'm there. And that's going to be a bit of an adventure, but, you know, custom. Why not? The other thing I want to do today is add some blocking in this bay specifically. When I put these joists in here, I just matched the existing spacing from the floor I'm standing on and what was there, which is like 18 inches on center, 19-ish, which is a little wide for, you know, the tile and the recommended for subfloor. So it's just this one bay, and maybe the bay is under my feet here. But I'm going to add some blocking in there just to stiffen it up and make sure we have no settling issues and it's nice and solid and rigid. This side is plenty close, not worried about that. But I'm saving some of these old 2x4s, the old studs that are coming out of this wall. That's what I'm going to use for all the blocking material. So it's free. Let's throw it on the floor, make it stiffer, make it better. So I'm going to finish cutting out this last, I think I got 2 studs in there, and then pull down this header. It's not load bearing, it's not supporting anything. I did check with our roof structure. So that shouldn't be a problem. Pull that stuff down. Then I'm going to tear up the floor. Decided just to replace all of this subfloor. This side is in decent shape, but since I'm already doing 2/3 of it, it's an extra $35 to do it all. While I'm here, might as well do it. So I'm going to start with pulling up a couple of these bays. Unfortunately, I'm just going to have to cut the hardwood out. It's not going to be used for anything. And then once I have the studs removed, the floor up, I'm going to cut my pieces to fit and then get the new subfloor pieces in here. I'm not going to glue and screw them down just yet because I have a bunch of plumbing and stuff to run under there. So, but at least it'll give me a good place to stand and work and eventually take down the ceiling. So that's what I'm going to get started. Remove a couple studs, start cutting into the floor, and go from there. So I'll set you up so you can watch, and we'll get to it. Alright, well, after struggling those first two passes, I think I gotta change my game plan here a little bit. Originally I wanted to just, since I'm taking out both the subfloor and the finished floor, I was just gonna cut it and see if I can take them off as big pieces. But ultimately that's gonna be a lot harder to dispose of. And those big pieces were really giving me a hard time to get off. So I've decided I'm just gonna cut a couple lines here. I think just through the finished floor. Pull that off first into little pieces. They'll be easier to stack in the trash can and take up less space. And then I'll come back and do the subfloor and see how that goes. But that first big chunk over here was not working. So we'll try again with a bit of a different method. Let me get this trash out of here and then I'll come back and start again. Alright, well, the more I look at this subfloor, the more I think it was the right decision to just replace all of it. For one, I don't know if you can see this, but a lot of the floor was nailed down with these giant cut nails, which would be a royal pain in the neck to remove from this floor. They don't look like they'd be in there that good, but they are ridiculously strong. So that would be a real pain to try and pull those from the subfloor to save it. Another reason is you see the gaps in the pine boards here. The current plan is to do a heated floor, at least in this main area in front of the vanity. And to do that, we would need to put down the mat and then pour self-leveler over top of it to create a nice smooth surface for tile to go on afterwards. And as you see all those gaps, if we pour self-leveling cement in here, right, it's just going to fall right down those cracks. So I'd have to go through and seal all these, just a pain. So I think this was the right choice. It was kind of painful to remove all that hardwood. Feels like such a waste, but I think it is what it is. I'm going to go ahead and start trying to pull some of these subfloor boards. I cut some blocks over here while I was outside, so might add some of that blocking, but I'm going to start with cutting some of this up and seeing if I can get it in the trash can and outside. Trash went today, so we have a fresh trash can out there. It'll probably be full by the end of the day, but that's all right. If it saves me a trip to the dump, I'll take it. You ready?
Yeah.
See what I did this morning?
Yes.
All right, now close your eyes. Come with me.
Don't let me trip.
I won't. Keep coming. Okay, stay right here. All right. Yep, what do you think?
Wow. How are you gonna work on anything?
Oh, that's what I bought that subfloor for this morning.
So none of this side needs to be re-supported?
I'm going to add some blocking to it, kind of in between some of these bays because it's a little wide, and like the recommendation for plywood under tile, as far as I can tell, is like 16 inches on center, and these are like 18 to 20. This one in particular is really goofy. Like you can see it kind of goes at an angle, but I'm not sure I'm going to worry too much about straightening it. It doesn't really matter all that much. It just needs to be sturdy. But
this is crazy.
They're plenty like strong because they're 2x8s and it's only like a 5-foot span. So that's why I saved all these 2x4s. I'm like, it's free material. So just throw it on the floor and make it nice and stiff.
So you're going to do that and then add the subfloor and then it'll be like clean slate on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
This looks good over here too.
Yeah.
Everything redone.
I matched the spacing of these floor joists on that one bay, and it's like too wide. I shouldn't have done that. So I'm going to have to block that one too, but the rest of these are fine. But
crazy.
I'm just a little worried with the tile, like if the floor isn't super sturdy, like if the floor moves at all, then tiles start to crack and pop. So now you can see the original construction. It went straight from this exterior wall. It's like through the wall too, so I don't know how far in there, but it's sitting on the exterior wall. Goes all the way across that support beam to that beam, and then it keeps going from there all the way to the next one. So this like 2x8 is like gotta be like 24 feet long or something stupid.
That's crazy.
So
oh my gosh.
But that's why it shouldn't really matter that those are out, because there's two beams that I could support it on. It's gonna look kind of goofy and a mess, but it doesn't really matter.
As long as it will hold everything up, it doesn't matter.
It's a renovation. It is what it is. I'm not too worried about it making it look pretty. It just needs to be
it's underneath, right?
Sturdy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're never gonna see it. It just feels a little insane. I mean, this kind of work is not for the faint of heart, right? Like you gotta.
It is insane.
You gotta just rip it out and trust that you can build it back.
I'm really trusting and hoping you can build it back.
Yeah. I think honestly by the end of today, it's gonna look basically back to normal, because I'm gonna go cut those sheets of subfloor and stick them down. I'm not gonna glue and like shoot them off for good, because I still want access for the plumbing. Because I got to put a toilet flange like right in here somewhere, and then sink drain. And I don't exactly know where these partition walls are going to sit yet, because I don't know how thick this wall is going to be, because I haven't decided about the insulation and stuff. And we gotta, if we're gonna punch this window, I gotta do it. Once the floor's back. The thickness of this wall sets this gap, sets this wall, sets that wall. Like everything is based off of this face. So that's why I gotta figure that out.
Crazy.
A little bit.
Okay, you hungry?
Yeah.
Me too.
All right. Here's the game plan to fill this hole. I'm gonna start by cleaning up all around the edges to make sure we've got a clean place to reference from. And then I'm going to get everything as coplanar as I possibly can. So I know I've got a bit of a high spot right here that I want to take care of, and then a bit of a low spot over there against that wall that I need to shim up. It's just a subfloor. Again, the idea here is that we're going to pour self-leveler over top of it once it's in, so it really doesn't need to be perfectly flat, but I'm going to do what I can to at least make it as best as possible without going too overboard on it. At least I'm going to try not to go too overboard on it. And then I'm going to go through and add in blocking throughout here. So I'm going to use these 2x4s that I saved, the old studs from these walls, and I'm going to add blocking. Probably not much in this corner because it's just going to be like a built-in shelves and stuff, so not much action on the floor, but definitely kind of this main area where most of the foot traffic is going to be in and out of this door. Given that we're putting tile down, I really need that floor to be stiff. So since I have the material, I'm going to go ahead and put a bunch of blocking in here. I'm going to try not to go overboard with the blocking, but on that aspect, I'd rather overdo it and spend a little bit extra in material and time to make sure it's a solid foundation than to underdo it and try and cut a corner. So before I put down these sheets of subfloor, I'm going to take care of that. From there, we'll move on to cutting the sheets of subfloor and piecing them in here. But for now, clean up, level, block, see how long that takes us. That's a wrap on today. Before I started this, I said I was going to try not to go overboard on getting all these joists coplanar or the blocking. I feel like I did one success, one failure. You know, these aren't perfectly in plane, but again, that's okay. Self-leveler will take care of that, but I went a little overboard on the blocking for sure. That took a lot more time than I was expecting, but it's super solid now. You can see I blocked this whole area, so this will be, the door will scoot over to the left a little bit, but when you walk in, all this open floor space is all blocked. I didn't do that last bay. There will be some blocking around the toilet over there, but in this area there will be a floating vanity that comes out to here, so you're never gonna step back there in the first place, so I'm really not that worried about it. And again, like, I'm doing all of this because the joists are just a little bit wider Then standard. Here I got 17 and a half on center, and it really should be 16 at least. That's what most of the tile manufacturers want to see. So I did use some new material, 2 new studs to do these ledgers down here because I didn't want to cut through a bunch of nails and stuff because I was ripping them in half. So it really like takes inspiration from how they used to do the tile floor and how it was originally done. Same sort of thing. They put ledgers down below and put another layer of subfloor and then mortar to support it. So this is kind of in that same vein. I have full confidence this is beyond strong enough. If you don't account for my time, which my time I value as next to free. Material was free, costed 2 studs, less than $10, and probably, well, probably 100, 200 nails in here. And I'm shooting all ring shanks, so those things are impossible to pull out, tons of holding power. Yeah, and then I got the 3/4 inch subfloor. It'll go on top of this. I didn't get it cut, and I'm not going to worry about cutting it today. I'll start fresh with fresh mind and fresh eyes on that tomorrow because I really don't want to miscut it. And we'll put that in here. I got a couple more blocks to do where those sheets meet and, like I said, around the toilet, but that'll be tomorrow's problem. That's it. We'll come back to this tomorrow. I'm tired. Oh no!